Good morning and welcome. You're on to Aspheric TV and this is the morning newspaper briefing. My name is Dabaru Gifts. On this program, we bring you front pages of Nigerian dailies and we get to discuss some of the issues that this newspapers brought forward with our invited guest, which I will present later in the show. I'd start off with the Nation newspaper. It says here, audits, federal government takes steps to deregister ASU. Union accused of infractions for 5 years. It's all blackmail, says Osodeke. Wike to expose characters in PDP disguising as leaders. Amotekun calls to carry weapons, says Akeredolu. Why Ondo Ogun clash over riverine communities? Tambuwal is NGF interim chair as Fayemi heads FORAF. How Lagos can achieve good governance by stakeholders. Also, Atiku's economic blueprint won't fly, says Minister. PDP, APC has no manifesto. The Guardian newspaper, it says here, State Police Akeredolu flays FG's refusal to allow Amotekun bear arms. Burna Boy makes history as UK's Afrobeats chart show marks 1 year. NNPC US Corporation Exim Bank seal deal on gas project. Cholera kills 10 in Gombe. 2023 National Peace Committee decries hateful attacks, asks politicians to sign peace accord. Interrogating costs of undergraduate education in federal state varsities. FG Atiku trade wars over economic blueprint. This day newspaper, it says here, Buhari, Nigeria's investments in security yielding positive results. Hails military, woos foreign investors, says government taking bold steps to address revenue underperformance. Emmanuel, PDP crisis festering because people failed to walk the talk. Confidence disagreements not too difficult to resolve. Explains party can't ignore the aggrieved if it intends to win 2023 polls. Will stay back to fight for equity, Wike assures, promises to deliver all elective positions in the state. The Daily Sun newspaper says, Wike to unveil preferred presidential candidates. Rivers governor rules out quitting PDP. Party leaders to hold zonal peace meetings to end crisis. Atiku still open to reconciliation, spokesman. Governor Emmanuel tells IU others to keep their promises. NNPC, US Corporation, Exim Bank, seal deal on gas project. Amotekun to bear arms in Ondo, Akeredolu. Khan inaugurates political strategy committee ahead of 2023 elections. Lai Mohammed, Atiku clash over blueprint economy. Why Nigeria is in forex crisis, CBN. Court order, FG has declared war on us, ASO. Reps summon SGF, Ngige, others over strike. China not planning to take over Nigeria's critical assets over debt repayment, says Envoy. INEC urges compliance with extant laws during campaigns. NDP, Nigeria to spend 49.7 trillion naira on capital projects in 4 years. The Punch newspaper says Atiku, PDP dare Wike, Makinde begin campaigns Wednesday. Lamido, Olafesho, Momodu, other heavyweights back party, preach peace. PDP Governors Forum to meet IU Atiku Okowa, say Tambuwal Wabara. BOT meets Wike today. Rivers governor vows to remain in PDP, fights for equity. ASU appeals ruling, says FG has declared war. Presidential candidates signed peace pact Thursday. Hoodlums ransack, loot Ogun school, pupils sent home. Akeredolu fumes as FG denies Amotekun firearms license. 245 killed in Kaduna community attacks, says Monarch. Military to bombard bandits, asks residents to relocate. The Daily Trust newspaper, says Buhari to investors, capital inflow our major challenge. Categorize our stolen crude as blood oil, Kyari. Nigeria needs help to tackle debt burden, Adesina. Emefiele, interest rates will continue to rise. 2023, IGP puts police commanders on alert, bars Amotekun, ESN, others from election campaigns. ASU, NICDA says IPPIS and UTAS fail integrity tests as reps summon SGF, AGF, others. Governors, BOT in fresh move to resolve PDP crisis. Police kill 16-year-old artisan, injured 2 others in Jos. Those are the headlines we have. We'll go on a short break. Please stay with us. When we return, I'll have my guest and we'll discuss some of these issues. Please stay with us. Welcome back. I have my guest with me. Good morning, Mr. Mustafa Abdul Malik. Welcome on the program.
Yeah, good morning.
I think we should start off with the Ondo State issue where the FG has refused to allow Amotekun to bear arms. And then the governor is fuming and basically he compared it to Katsina. If the state police can be allowed to carry arms, why not in Ondo State? What are your thoughts on this issue?
Well, it's not the issue between federal government and the Ondo State government. It's a matter of constitutional. It's a constitutional issue because issues relating to arms is on the exclusive list of the Constitution, and what the federal government is only doing is trying to enforce or to ensure that no individual, no non-state actor carries arm. If you could see that even the road safety that is a federal establishment and a well establishment which enacted by the National Assembly, you now discover that they are not allowed to carry arm because the Constitution did not allow them to carry it. Well, the fact is that whether we like it or not, we are now at a point whereby that part of the Constitution need to be amended to ensure that security is all encompassing, so that it will not be just the federal government alone that has the role to procure arms for security agencies. They should unbundle the Constitution so that states assemblies can decide on the kind of state police or state security architecture that they want. By so doing, they now discover that some of these challenges we are facing here and there, it won't arise because a governor cannot sit, a governor in Cross River cannot sit in Calabar and call on Mr. President in Abuja to assist him before he can solve a particular problem that is not supposed to even linger for too long. But as it is today, you discover that state governors, they are regarded as chief security officers of their state, but in reality, they are not really chief security officer because they don't have power over police, they don't have power over the DSS within their domain, let alone to talk about the armed forces. That is the situation here. Governor Rotimi Akeredolu, from the beginning, he has been at the forefront of calling for the amendment of the Constitution so that the states can have state police or community police, as whatever name that we decide to call it. But you now discover that instead of the government to heed to his call to say, okay, let's amend this Constitution, let's initiate the process of amendment of the Constitution, instead of that one, we continue to tighten up and making it strengthen the unitary system, whereby only the federal government has that power to deploy police, to deploy army, and to deploy the DSS. That is the situation today. And you see now that we are paying the high price over the insecurity problem that is continuing to linger and spreading beyond even the north here that we are dealing with it. So you now discover that at the heat of the campaign for state police in the southwest, instead of the governors there to now like allow the campaign to drag for too long and cause constitutional problem, they decided to like bring up Amotekun as a kind of a ad hoc thing. But as it is today, it has gone beyond the ad hoc thing because it has been institutionalized by the state assembly and they have them. But the major problem they are dealing with right now is the issue of bearing of arms. And you see Governor Akeredolu being a lawyer, a senior advocate of Nigeria and former NBA chairman, the national chairman of NBA. What he is now saying is that if, according to him, he said Katsina state government could procure arms for their own vigilante group in Katsina, that he himself is not going to fold his hand. He will procure arms and armed Amoteku security in his state. That is what he said. Well, it's going to be a constitutional problem, and we are going to see days to come if he should go into action, take his word into action and procure arms. I believe that the Attorney General of the Federation will not drag the matter before the Supreme Court for an interpretation, and we should wait for that and see.
Still in a tussle with the federal government, the ASU appealed in court, and then they have said that the federal government has declared war. Do you see an end to this whole issue between the federal government and the ASU? Because I think the declaration by the ASU saying the federal government has declared war is a rather serious one. So what are your thoughts?
Well, days to come, you now discover that, because if you look at what is happening, the committee of the vice chancellors of the universities, the federal universities, they have their own union, not the union per se. They have their own a kind of a forum. They have their own, and of which most times they are in sync or they are in alliance with the federal government. So what the federal government will now do, they will now coerce them to call off the strike and reopen the universities within their wherever the universities are. I believe that is what the federal government will now do. By the time the federal government now do that through the committee of the vice chancellors, you now discover that each branches of the ASU will now discover in fact, what they are just trying to do, let's just be plain to ourselves, they are just trying to like whittle down the power of ASU. And days to come, you now discover that individual universities will now decide to say, okay, we have reopened the university. And then the branches of ASU within the various universities, they will now decide to say, okay, we are pulled out of the ASU and we are called off the strike. If you discover that any particular lecturer that refused to come to the class, federal government now will now decide to go after them, and that is exactly what will happen now. In days to come, you now discover that universities will now open. As they reopen, you discover that if the ASU within the local branches decide to continue on the strike, you discover that the university will now make a pronouncement to say, okay, sack. I believe that this is not the first time that ASU has recorded this kind of a scenario. They have had it during the military era, whereby the regime of Buhari, Babangida now proscribed them and they go after them. It was a Jega time when Jega was the president of the ASU. It happened then, and that is what we are going to witness now. But one thing that we must not ignore is that the fact that we are not in the military dictator era, whereby government can just unilaterally do whatever they like. And I believe that instead of them to do that, that's why they decide to approach the court. If they approach the court and the court has given their judgment, ASU too has the right to appeal, and they said they have already appealed. Government will not wait until the appeal take their decision. I don't think they will do that. Government is like, if you observe very well, what their government is trying to do now is that, look, they have tried all their best to make sure that ASU call off the strike, but ASU refused to call off the strike, and that is why they decide to take this path now. And from henceforth, you now discover that they will use force to make sure that they coerce them to go back to the class. But the fact is that we must not ignore this, that eventually ASU will come back to class. Next time again, the strike will still continue again.
Let's hope the issue is resolved finally, so that this scenario doesn't occur again. Moving on to politics, the PDP precisely. The crisis that has been going on in the party is still lingering, and then for the second time, governors are still, should I say, coercing among themselves, trying to coerce rather, the Rivers State governor, which is Wike. And in another headline on one of the newspapers, the Rivers State governor has said that he doesn't intend to leave the party. Do you see these moves for the second time to like end the crisis? Do you see the crisis ending permanently in the PDP?
Well, you don't need the soothsayer to know what Wike and his group are trying to do. What they are trying to do is that they are trying to like reenact what happened in 2014, 2015 that led to the defeat of PDP. That is exactly what they are trying to do this time around. Because if you look at it very well, Atiku and some other governors, I think about 12 governors, then they now align together and make sure that APC now defeat PDP. And this time around, Wike and his own group too, they are trying to like reincarnate the situation to make sure that PDP is being defeated. It's like a vendetta mission. Well, Wike, he has said it yesterday that look, he's not leaving a PDP. He will remain within the PDP, and he will ensure that he deliver his state to PDP. But according to the Sun said Wike today or later in the next week, he will unveil his preferred presidential candidate. Well, the deed has been done. Whether we like it or not, I don't see PDP coming out of the current crisis. And as they are approaching the 2023 election, I don't see them coming out, let alone to talk about victory. The deed has been done. It's sad that they could not manage their crisis until this very moment. But one question I keep asking is that, what if Atiku had picked Wike as his running mate?
Would
he be clamoring to say that Ayu must go? I don't think so. So it's more or less like a personal thing. You understand? Politicians are known to pursue their personal agenda to any logical end, and then this is what is happening now. To me, if you ask me, I would say that look, what Wike is doing is that like, if you say that I will not eat the food, to let us scatter the food so that nobody will eat the food. That's exactly what he's doing today.
Also, the Minister for Information yesterday said Atiku's allegations on the blueprints, the economic blueprints, will not fly. There was a little bit of bickering here and there. What are your thoughts on that issue?
Well, I believe that the Minister of Information is entitled to his opinion, but most times when he talk as if he's speaking at Nigerians, because if whatever thing he's talking about today relating to economy and economic blueprint or whatever, he is in the government, and this administration has been there for 7 years now. Whatever his plan that he's talking about is, to me, he should just ignore other political parties that are talking about their economic blueprint or criticizing the government. Because if you observe what is happening today, virtually all the economic indices is counting against the present government, that look, they have not been faring well since they came to power. So if Atiku is talking about, okay, faulting the government to say, okay, government did not do well economically, and he believed that his own economic blueprint would salvage the country from the woes, I don't think that Lai Mohammed should take it personal by coming out to say, okay, no, he shouldn't do that, because economy is not something that you talk in vacuum. When you are discussing the economy, it's something of reality, something that everybody will feel the impact. If the economy is moving well, we are feeling the impact. If it's not moving well, we are still feeling the impact. Today now, you now discover that the economy is unstable. Virtually everything is at the cliff. You understand? So, Lai Mohammed should just like, to me, it's like when he's talking about Atiku, it's like being insensitive to the plight that Nigerians are going through. Because we are not, if you go to the market today, you could see that the inflation is dealing with everybody. The income of every average Nigerian is static, whereas prices of things keep going rising. It shows that the economy blueprint or whatever economic policy of present administration is not working. Since it's not working, that is why you now discover that the opposition are now poking at the current administration. If the economic agenda of the government is working, I don't think they will rather be discussing some other things, not the economy again. But today, every Nigerian is feeling the heat.
That's the news we'll be covering this morning. Thank you for joining me, Mr. Mustafa Abdul Malik.
You're welcome.
My name is Dabiru Gifts. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Aspheric TV on YouTube. And also follow us on all of our social media platforms. On Instagram and Twitter, we are Aspheric News. And on Facebook, we are official Aspheric News. Thanks for watching. Bye.